The bustling terminal of Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport was alive with the usual sounds of rolling suitcases, overhead announcements, and murmured conversations. At Gate C-23, Marine veteran Thomas stood with his German Shepherd, Max, a registered service dog wearing a vest, signaling his vital role. Thomas, in his mid-40s, was unmistakable with his weathered leather jacket and a cap embroidered with Semper Fi, a testament to his service. For Thomas, flying was never easy due to the lingering effects of his time overseas. However, Max provided more than companionship. He was a lifeline, trained to detect and mitigate the anxiety and panic attacks that often plagued Thomas. Together, they were booked on Flight 172 to Los Angeles, where Thomas was to attend a veterans advocacy event. But as boarding began, a routine check turned into an unexpected obstacle. The gate agent hesitated, citing a new airline policy that restricted certain animals, even those with documentation. Thomas, holding Max's papers, explained his dog's critical role, but the agent stood firm. Confusion turned to frustration as Thomas realized that this wasn't just a policy dispute, it was a challenge to his dignity, sparking the attention of nearby passengers who began to take notice of the unfolding scene. As Thomas approached the gate agent with his ticket and Max's service dog documentation, he expected a routine acknowledgement. Instead, the agent frowned, scanning a tablet nervously before delivering unsettling news. A new airline policy restricted certain animals, including Max, from boarding, even with proper documentation. The explanation felt vague and arbitrary, leaving Thomas confused and frustrated. "This dog isn't a pet," Thomas stated, his voice calm but firm. "He's a service animal. Do you understand what that means? He's here for my medical needs." The agent hesitated, glancing nervously at the growing line of passengers behind Thomas. Lowering her voice, she repeated that the policy could not be overridden, citing protocol. Max, sensing his owner's mounting agitation, nudged Thomas gently, grounding him momentarily. However, the frustration was evident as Thomas reminded the agent of the sacrifices he had made for his country and the challenges he continued to face daily. "I didn't ask for these struggles, but I manage. And now you are telling me I can't board because of some arbitrary rule?" Nearby passengers began to slow down, their murmured conversations turning to whispers of disbelief. The tension at Gate C-23 was palpable, as this simple boarding issue evolved into a matter of principle and justice. The tense exchange between Thomas and the gate agent quickly drew the attention of nearby passengers at Gate C-23. Initially, people exchanged curious glances, catching snippets of the conversation. As the situation became clearer that a Marine veteran and his service dog were being denied boarding due to an airline policy, whispers of disbelief rippled through the crowd. An older man in a baseball cap muttered, "That man fought for this country, and they're giving him grief over his dog?" Others nodded in agreement, their indignation growing. A middle-aged man in a suit stepped out of line to watch closely, his arms crossed, while a young mother holding a toddler paused, narrowing her eyes at the scene. The murmurs grew louder, a reflection of the collective unease among the passengers. Thomas's frustration was evident as he explained Max's importance, his voice steady but tinged with anger. Max remained calm, leaning against his owner as if offering silent reassurance. When the gate supervisor arrived and repeated the airline's stance, the crowd's irritation intensified. "This isn't right," a woman holding her boarding pass declared. A man nearby pulled out his phone and began recording, saying to no one in particular, "People need to see this. This is ridiculous." The energy around Gate C-23 shifted, transforming from quiet observation to vocal support for Thomas and Max. Amid the rising tension at Gate C-23, a calm yet authoritative voice cut through the noise, drawing everyone's attention. Standing a few feet away was a tall, composed young man who seemed familiar to some in the crowd. The whispers began, "It's Barron Trump." Carrying a small backpack and boarding pass, Barron stepped forward, his demeanor steady and assured. Addressing the gate supervisor directly, Barron asked, "What's going on?" The supervisor hesitated before explaining that Thomas's service dog Max didn't meet the updated requirements for the flight. Barron frowned, his gaze shifting between Thomas and Max. "Doesn't meet the requirements? he asked pointedly. This man is a Marine veteran, and that's a service dog. What part of this situation seems okay? The crowd murmured their agreement, emboldened by Barron's presence. A nearby passenger voiced, "Exactly, he's not asking for anything unreasonable." Barron remained composed, but federal law protects service animals regardless of airline policies, he stated. Are you seriously willing to break the law over them? The supervisor faltered under Barron's pointed questions, visibly uncomfortable. This isn't just about rules, Barron continued. It's about doing the right thing. Imagine what this man has been through, and now you are denying him dignity over a technicality. His words struck a chord, uniting the crowd further behind Thomas. As Barron Trump confronted the gate supervisor, the crowd around gate C-23 grew more vocal in their support for Thomas. Passengers began pulling out their phones, recording the escalating incident from various angles. A man in his 30s declared, "People need to see this," as he aimed his camera at the scene. Others chimed in, their voices blending into a chorus of indignation. "This isn't legal," one man called out. "Aren't service animals protected by law?" Barron, undeterred, continued addressing the airline staff with calm but firm authority. "This isn't just about rules," he said, his voice carrying over the murmur. "It's about doing the right thing. This man is a Marine veteran, and Max is his service doga lifeline, not a luxury. Imagine what he's been through, and now you are denying him dignity over a technicality?" The supervisor, visibly uneasy under the scrutiny of the crowd and the cameras, hesitated, trying to maintain control. "We're simply enforcing the airline's policies," he replied. Though his voice lacked conviction, Barron pressed further, emphasizing, "Policies should never override basic human decency and federal protections. This isn't just a flight, it's about respect for those who've served our country." The crowd's support surged. Strangers united, voicing their agreement with Barron and Tom. The atmosphere was charged with a sense of shared purpose as passengers rallied against the injustice they were witnessing. Facing mounting pressure from the crowd and Barron's unwavering arguments, the gate supervisor relented. Pulling out his walkie-talkie, he stepped away to contact airline management. After a tense wait, he returned with an announcement. Thomas and Max would be permitted to board the flight. The crowd erupted into cheers, but Thomas, though relieved, raised his hand to quiet. "This isn't about an exception for me," he said firmly. "It's about what this means for every veteran or person with a disability who comes after me. Policies like these need to change." Barron nodded in agreement, adding, "He's right. This isn't over. Rules like these aren't just inconvenient, they're harmful. We need to ensure respect and dignity for those who've given so much." The supervisor, clearly uncomfortable, promised to escalate the issue to the airline's corporate team. As Thomas and Max made their way to the gate, the crowd applauded, not just for them but for the principles they represented. Thomas, visibly moved, expressed gratitude to the crowd. "For years, I felt invisible. Today you've made me feel seen." The story quickly spread across social media, with videos of the incident going viral. Hashtags like #RespectOurVeterans and #ServiceDogsOurHeroes trended, inspiring thousands to reflect on the importance of standing up for others. The incident became a reminder of the ripple effect of courage and compassion, urging people to act against injustice in their daily lives.